I wrote my first book, The Wake Up Call, some 8 years ago in 2006, and about, it must be 2 years ago now, in 2012, I decided that I was going to write or rewrite the book and make it much, much more in-depth and definitely with more usable information in there. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Awareness, and I am delighted to be able to share it with you in this format now. Those of you who have read The Wake Up Call will discover that there are certain parts of The Beginner's Guide to Awareness that will seem familiar to you. However, you will also find that I have gone into considerably more detail over certain aspects, primarily because I've had 6 years worth, or 6 years more, of developing and seeing things in a new way. So we'll start off by looking at who is Anne. Anne lived through years of depression and self-doubt. Her levels of insecurity made her a possessive woman whose underlying feeling was, "It'll end in tears." Because it usually did, because that was what she focused on, she lived with dread of when that would happen again, which meant that it would happen. So she was stuck in a destructive vicious circle, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Over the years, her lifestyle led to increasing levels of sickness and ill health, both physical and emotional, until she got to the point where she was frightened enough to become determined to find another way of being. She discovered a very interesting way of approaching life that connected way back through the history of humanity and appeared to be the source of abundance on all levels. She realized that she had found a source of information that was transformational, and the more she found, the more she found. With everything she discovered that she felt was true, she put it into practice in her own life to find out whether it worked or not. She had never been one to take things on face value and always wanted to try things out for herself. Sometimes it felt that for every 2 steps forward there was 1 step backwards. However, that meant that the direction of progress was forward, and this encouraged her to keep going. Recently, she's been the manager of an award-winning project that helped people who have been suffering from long-term mental health problems to develop self-belief, confidence, and skills that enable them to return to the workplace. She now has excellent relationships with everybody, including herself, as she has the ability to see good in everyone, even when they can't see it in themselves. This ensures that people always feel better after meeting her. She holds a strong belief that if she can transform her life into one which is full of health, wealth and happiness, she can share what works with others so that they will have the tools to help them achieve that too. If she can do it, so can you. If you have been looking for something that is easy to understand and doesn't take too much ploughing through, then you are very much like me. Nothing frustrates me more than having to sift through books only to discover that it was a simple ploy to make me spend more money. That has happened to me so many times that I've become quite adept at getting my money back nowadays. In the early days, I lost money. Having lived through so much chaos and poverty, ill health and sickness, that you would imagine that I would be a complete wreck by this point in my life. You can read about my journey from hell to health on my website, which is sparklingenergy.co.uk. There you will discover that this is not the case. I have discovered many different ways of improving my life, and in this book and a couple of others that I have written, I will be making them all accessible to you too. In this book, I will show you how the way we live is far below our potential for happiness and health, because no one has ever shown us a better way of being. When I discovered the inspirations in here, I had major aha moments, and I hope that you will too. I will start out by making some statements that you will probably agree with, and I think it is heartening to realise that virtually everyone you know would agree too. Then, in the following section, I will look at the ways in which we have been damaged as children and how we can move beyond that to claim our true cosmic birthright. There are exercises at the back that take a few minutes to apply and have a lifetime's worth of benefits. There are links to my other books that have the power to transform your physical health on many levels by simply making a few adjustments to your lifestyle. I want to make it as accessible as possible so that anyone can apply it and benefit. If we can all move up the vibrational scale just a little bit, it will kickstart the motion upwards and onwards. So, do you identify with these statements? You will find that these are the similar or the same statements that are in the wake-up call, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate them here. Please listen to these statements and let each of them sink into your centre and ask yourself, is this who I am? Then you can wake up to the realization that you are part of the biggest network across this planet. So you believe that every life is sacred and that it is not big or clever to solve differences in perspective through violence. You have learned that life is easier if you show everyone respect and share. Hopefully you learned that when you were very little, but not everybody does. Have you discovered that if you you have discovered that if you really listen to each other's perspective without prejudice or judgment, you develop real and meaningful relationships with people that you know you can trust? You are aware that human behaviour is starting to change, and we are beginning to see a slow but definite awakening to the fact that we create our own reality. You wish that everyone could learn to live together in peace and have enough healthy food to eat and fresh water to drink. You have a strong desire to see the end of the senseless deaths of young and old men, women, and children across the world. You have realized that whilst there are people in America who are so fat that they cannot move, children die of hunger in Africa, and this is not acceptable in your eyes. You have been led to accept slowly decreasing levels of health as you get older, and that distresses you. You have a deeply held desire for this world to be a safe and peaceful paradise for your children and your grandchildren to grow up in and reach their full potential. Do you recognize yourself as a member of this group? I feel certain that you do. What you need to know is that the power to achieve this is yours already, and it is now time for you to wake up and allow it to happen, because all it will take is just for a few more of us to wake up to that vision, and it will be.